All right. Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to Smart Tech Talk 9.0. And today's Tech Talk will be dealing with Python for automation and scripting. And on board, we have some amazing people, that are here to, discuss some things regarding Python, regarding how we can use Python for automation, how we can use Python for our scripting, and to talk about, software development generally, how Python is playing a major role in this innovative world that we have now, and then how Python can be used to automate repetitive rep, um, repetitive tasks like that, so that we can automate our workflow and all that. And we have amidst us some two great people, and they are also they've been using Python for a while, and they've been able to work on some projects, develop some apps with Python, and they've been able to automate some things regarding Python. And I am more than happy to have them here this evening so that they can explain some things to us regarding Python and show us some things regarding automation and scripting with Python. So quickly, I remain smart. I'm a senior developer, so I'll be the anchor for today, and then we'll be discussing together how we can use Python for automation and scripting. So together with me, we have Onibudo Aderisola, a backend developer that would also be, sharing some things with us regarding Python for automation and scripting. And also we have Oyesole Likon, a software engineer also, that's going to be showing us giving us some insights, showing us some things that he has been able to work on over the couple of months regarding using Python for automation. So quickly, Ms. Onibudo, please, can you just quickly, give us a short introduction of yourself so that we want to meet you. Just give us a short introduction of yourself. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Onibudo Aderisola, and I'm a backend developer.
All right. Thank you very much. So she is a backend developer, and she has worked on a couple of projects, some that are live and some that are yet to be live. So she's a good backend developer. So over to you, Mr. Lekon.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Oyesole Lekon by name, and I'm into backend development, and I use Python, Django for backend projects, and that's also yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, sir. We really appreciate. So quick one. Welcome to Tech Talk 9.0 again. And Tech Talk is a talk that we bring in people, we bring in developers so that they can share some insights with us. We bring in people from various fields, across various fields in the tech industry, like the UI UX, the Python, data analytics, and the likes. So quick one. Without wasting our time today, I want to go straight into what we have for today. And just as you've seen on the flyer that is on the screen now, it is Python for automation and scripting. Python for automation and scripting. Now, without doubt, okay, if we are to call, two or three people even that are not even into programming at all, that are not even into tech at all, and we begin to ask them, tell me two or three programming language that will most definitely hear Python as probably the first or the second. Most, in fact, 60% we say Python first. That's to tell you how popular this programming language has become over the years, how popular it has become, and how Python has really found its way into almost every aspect of tech. When we're talking about automation, Python is there. When we're talking about scripting, Python is there. When we're talking about machine learning, Python is there. When we're talking about web application, Python is there. When we're talking about mobile application, Python is there. When we're talking about, various aspects, system application, Python is there. So that's to tell you Python is one of a key programming language even in this era, and it is here to stay as it has find its way across various aspects of tech, and it is here to stay. And today we just want to explore just one part that Python has find its way into, which is automation and scripting. And we have some guests here, just like I've said before, that will be, explaining some things to us regarding Python for automation and scripting. Now, I'll start with Mr. Lincoln. Hello, are you with me, sir?
So,
Yeah, thank you very much. So we'll
yes,
start
I'm
with,
here.
yeah. So we'll start with you, sir. Now, regarding Python for automation and scripting, or let us first start from, Python. What can you say about Python as a language? You've been working on it for a couple of time now. So what can you just say about just Python alone? Over to you, sir.
Python is the very very versatile language, and I love it for its simplicity compared to other languages because the syntax are way simpler to comprehend, and it has a lot of uses. Talking about the web development, in AI, machine learning, and a lot of automated works, embedded system, and a lot of stuff. And one the other features are the fact that you can use a lot of libraries which most of other languages does not have, like the Matplotlib library when it comes to data analysis and science, the Django, the Flask, and a lot like that. So Python is a very very nice language to start with if you're just starting as a programmer.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah, I think I can relate with that, as it has a vast collections of libraries or frameworks that helps it to go very, very far. Like Python now, we have various frameworks for our data analytics and all. So it really makes it very, very versatile. Yeah, thank you for that, Sam. So over to you also, Ms. Aderisola. What can you say about Python as a programming language?
Python is a programming language known for its simplicity, and it supports multiple programming paradigms like object-oriented and functional programming. And it's a powerful tool for developing application, automating tasks, and analyzing data.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah, thank you very much. I think, yeah, one thing that also makes Python, very, very fast is that we can use it for various, talking about programming paradigm. We are talking about functional programming, Python is there. We are talking about object-oriented programming, Python. So I think all those things are things that really makes it really, really fast and really, really volatile, even as it has become one of the popular programming language in this area. So thank you very much for that. So the first thing I just want to ask you that I want to know regarding Python for automation and scripting. So what are the most common use cases, okay, for Python automation in your own industry? When talking about Python for automation, it spans across various industries, the data analytics, scripting, like automation, like mobile application development, system application development, and the likes. But we just want you to, since you are using Python in your own industry, so tell us about your own industry, number one, and then tell us the most common use cases for Python automation in your industry. So let's start from you again, Mr. Leko.
Okay, so on Python, since Python is known for its versatility, it has a lot of functionalities, and I'm considering my own industry because I'm quite interested in I'm really interested in web development and more interested in Web3 and the financial analysis aspect. So starting with the web development, Python is really used in testing automations when it comes to checking out how an application works after the project is being developed. And they use frameworks like unit tests, they use Selenium, they use PyTest and all of that. And this library supports the use of end-to-end testing, whereby it saves a lot of time and errors to test applications. So using this, it saves it saves a lot of time and helps programmers to debug and know exactly where the problem is coming from. And it's also being used in for web scraping and data aggregation, because most of these days data are usually picked from other sources. So instead of you manually copying data and sending it to your page and going through all those steps, you can just leverage on web scraping and data aggregation, whereby you can get to use libraries like Beautiful Soup, Scrappy. You can also use Selenium to gather information such as market data, contents for blogs, competitors' prices from e-commerce websites and all of that. And it can also be used in database management, whereby we can get to automate our database migrations, backup, updates from our SQL, like from our Django admin panel to the server side, and then you can get to interact with the client side too, using those using libraries like Django or which is the default this thing that comes with Django framework. So it can also be used in SEO automation, whereby I can get to automate the analysis of website SEO, like checking for broken links, optimizing data, generating site maps, and even submitting URLs to sites engines. And it can also be used for API testing, because these days APIs are really used when it comes to integrations of features to the projects a programmer is working on, when it comes to taking data from social medias, from um, platforms, probably trying to create a weather app, and you need to get the specific weather forecast for a particular location. Here you can get to use all these API frameworks and tools like requests, Postman, and all of that. So, and you can also use for task scheduling, whereby instead of manually taking some operations to probably send message to users or do some other tasks by sending messages like emails, you can get to automate all of these tasks using Python. And we can use libraries like Celery to automate all of these tasks. And talking about the financial analysis that I talked about, the other industry that I'm interested in, it's Python is majorly used for Python automation is majorly used for um, markets data analysis, whereby you get to get real-time data of financial markets, such as the exchange rates, the stock prices, crypto prices, and a lot of financial markets information that needs to be sent to a project. We can do that using Python automation. And then when it comes to financial modeling, so we can get to automate complex financial models, like probably discounted flow or sensitive analysis, to evaluate investments opportunities for users. And we can also use data abstraction, just like the web scraping gets to take data from financial report like API, and cleaning it for analysis, which saves time and ensure the data are being consistent, and it also helps to maintain data integrity. Yeah, it helps to maintain data integrity. Yeah, that's I think that's all. Yeah, that's my points.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think that's a lot that you said there. And if you really want to begin to analyze them one by one, that's a whole lot to comprehend in just one. But I think the catchy of it, I was able to capture a lot of things, the web scraping. Yes, we use, web scraping for our automation so that you can get something elsewhere and then perform some, maybe function on it and all that. And then you also talk about database management. Yes, you don't want to be doing things manually. So you want to create a system, you want to create an automation that will help you manage your database and all that. And then you talk about SEO. Yeah, that's very important. Submitting site maps. When you maybe you are working on a blog now and you posted something maybe on your blog, there must be an automation that will help you with your SEO so that the link is automatically submitted, such that that link is now available on maybe search engines, Google, Bing, and the like. So thank you for, and you also talk about the API testing, the exchange rate, financial modeling. Thank you all for that. So those are, I feel, yes, we things that we use, when it comes to automating. We want to automate. So those are things that we can automate. And then you have also talked about how we can go about that, maybe getting API. And you also talk about libraries for the web scraping, like the Beautiful Soup and all that. So thank you very much for that. So over to you, Ms. Aderisola. So what can you also say about it?
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay, I can't hear you. Okay. The most common use cases for Python automation by industry. I'm going to be focusing on coding
Okay.
as a whole.
Okay.
So Python can be used for automating testing processes and software development,
Okay.
like ensuring the quality and functionality of applications by automating test scripts. And it can also be used to schedule and automate tasks to run at specific times, like generating reports, updating databases, or performing maintenance activities. And Python libraries like Pandas or NumPy, they can facilitate automating data processing tasks, like transforming and analyzing large data sets efficiently. And it also helps with GUI automation. Python libraries like Selenium enable automating interactions with graphical user interfaces, GUI, making it useful for testing applications or controlling desktop applications. That's all.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I think the points you've been able to make there were, to automate software testing. Yes, we want to test our software. We can automate the testing. Also for scheduling and automate tests. Yeah. And then you also talk about the libraries. Yeah. So thank you all for that. So I think you've been able to answer the question, the most common use cases for Python automation. Okay, when we're talking about Python automation, what are the most common use cases? And you've been able to talk about that, in software testing, scheduling tasks, libraries, to like the pandas, just like you mentioned, in GUI, graphical user interface, and the like. So thank you all for that. Now, quickly, without wasting any much of our time, so how do you undo errors and exception in your Python script? So probably let's say you have a Python script now. Now, how do you undo errors and exceptions? Let's start from you, Mr. Lekon.
Okay. I get to undo errors and exceptions in my Python scripts by leveraging on the the built-in try except blocks. So there are actually several ways where we can get to utilize that. We can use try except, and try except is majorly used to catch and handle exceptions that may occur during the execution of the code. So we have another one. We can also use an S block in attachment with the try except, whereby the S block will in the try except structure will run if there's no if no exception occurs. And we can also use finally in attachment to the try except, whereby the finally block will still run regardless of an error or not. And then we can get to use multiple exceptions, because we have various exceptions. We have arithmetic exception. We have type errors. We have a lot of errors. We have input output errors and a lot like that. So instead of just generally giving an error just except, you can get to specify. So I think that also helps in handling specific errors. And then we can also raise custom exceptions, but in this case we'll be using the raise keyword to raise an exception, whereby we creating some functions, and of the function inside of our try and try block, we'll call the function, and then if there's an error, then it will throw an error to the except error, which will be outside of the definition that was defined. That's my point, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah, thank you very much. I think I've been able to catch something, the try and error, such that we can why do we really have to use the try and error? It's possible you want to automate a task, and when you want to automate that task, you want to be able to foresee the type of error that what you are trying to automate might encounter. And then when you can foresee, you can, catch them down. You can write something that's going to handle all those errors down. So that's why the try and error is very, very important when it comes to automating your task. You just want to write something that will automate it. You need to catch, you need to see, okay, beforehand, that, okay, these are the errors is most likely to have, these are the errors is most likely to have. So when you are using your try and except, it will handle all those errors, so that, probably the user, people running that your script, they won't get, an error message, or even if they get an error message, it is a message that is already defined by you. I think that is real. And you said you use it to catch your error. So that's what try and error help us to try and accept help us to do. So over to you also, Miss Aderinsola. So how do you handle errors and exceptions in your Python scripts?
Yes. Said. Only if after try and except, you can use it. So if when no exceptions are raised, the else exception code on it. That's instead of using else alone, you can use else and finally. That will make the code run, whether the exception occurred or not.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm not sure I get probably the network from your side, but I'm able to get that we can also use the else. So we can also handle our errors, with the else. We can also do that to handle our automation. Yeah, so thank you very much for that. Now, quickly, without wasting any much of our time, I want us to, share some of the experiences that we've had. I know we are into this thing, so it's your field. You can share a couple of things with us. So now, can you share an example of complex tasks that you've automated using Python? You get maybe a complex task that you worked on before, that you've automated before using Python. Can you just, share an example or tell us how you were able to do it? Maybe probably the challenges that you face, something like that. Can you share us some example? Let's start from you, Lekon again.
Okay. Yeah, I've worked on quite a few projects, and I had no choice than to leverage on the exception handling methods, because without that, our projects will run into errors. So while I was working on this particular project, it was basically a Python authentication system, just with pure Python, whereby I had to use a lot of functions and automated, basically automated functions, whereby a user will get to input their details, and I will check if the user is existing or not. But before you can get to log in, you need to create an account. So after creating an account, the account will be the user's data will be saved to a text file, and then after the registration, the user would try to log in. So during the registration, if there's an existing if there's an existing if there's the username the user is imputing is already existing, then it will raise it will I used try and accept to raise an error telling the user that the this thing is already existing. And sometimes some users could get to input the wrong format of wrong text formats for their username, probably use of symbols, which is not permitted. So in situations like this, we can get to leverage on try and accept also. And because since we'll be passing the variable as a string, so getting to input symbols will definitely raise an error. So I used try and accept error to override that. And when user tries to log into and repeats the same thing, I was able to undo all of those stuff with try and accept.
Yeah, so thank you very much for that. So one of the thing that I was able to get is that you worked on a complex project, and the project you worked on was authentication system. You used automation to you automate the whole process of authentication system. Yeah, so that's very good. Thank you for that. So over to you, Ms. Aderisola. What project have you worked on? That you've been able to automate something, use automation to automate repetitive tasks. Okay, I think she's not here, probably a network. Okay, I think
Yes.
that's our network. So let's just move to the next one. Probably she would join us again, and we will still have to hear from her. So quick one. So let's just move to the next one. So now, how do you stay up to date? Okay, now how do you stay up to date with new libraries and tools for Python automation? How do you stay up to date? How do you know that, okay, this is the next thing people are doing? Okay, this is the next library that we use for automation. Okay, this is the next thing we can. So how do you stay up to date? Over to you, Mr. Lekon.
I mostly I leverage on social media by following our thoughts on leaders, like the influential people who are conversant with Python programming language. I follow them on various social media like the LinkedIn, the Twitter, the Facebooks. And I also follow Python communities like Stack Overflow, where I can get to see a lot of discussions about new libraries and tools. And even when I'm experiencing errors with my code, I get to leverage on these communities for answers. There are also stuff like there are also sources like Reddit. We have GitHub. Yes, there are various communities on GitHub where you can get to stay updated on Python is and their new libraries. I also subscribe to Python newsletter, whereby I receive weekly, daily updates regarding Python tutorials, their tools, and a lot of that. And also, I get to stay updated by attending Python conferences and webinars. With that, I get to stay updated on Python libraries and the frameworks. I also watch YouTube channels, various YouTube channels like the Real Python, the Tech with Tim, Mosh Code, and all of that. They get to talk about Python related content, and with that, can get to stay updated with Python. And there's also a Python. There's also a Python command where you can get to know about any changes on Python libraries, which is Python package index, the PYPI. So this can be inputted to commands. This can be inputted on terminals to get to know if there's an update on your existing libraries or not. And then I get to read Python blogs, I read dev community, I read Medium, and a lot like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that is really, really quite a lot. That is quite a lot. But well, I've been able to catch a lot, Stack Overflow, LinkedIn, Facebook, Reddit, GitHub, social media, Python community, that newsletter, and all that. So that's a lot. But as a beginner, how do we, how do we, okay, you've been into the field now. That's why over time you have. But as a beginner, how do you, when talking about social media is a place of, a lot of distractions where you can get distraction. You are coming for another thing, you just meet another thing. So as a beginner, how would you advise a beginner, okay, to be able to stay up to date? How would you, if I'm a beginner now, what advice would you give me in a world now that is, distracting, and these things you've mentioned, they are really quite a lot. And for instance, how will I go to Overflow, LinkedIn, all these things, Python newsletter, Python package, it's a lot of things. But what advice can you give me, probably as a beginner, on how to really stay focused and stay up to date? What advice would you give me?
First off, the very important thing to do is staying keen to a particular part, because these days algorithm is already taking over, is whereby the only thing you search for is what you get to see consistently. So I think that would really reduce the rates at which the new user the new programmer is getting programmer is getting. So getting to interact with a particular field, we actually save from a lot of distraction. Whereby we have social media. I use social media a lot, and whatever thing that I search for is what I get to see the most. So starting up with social media, I think reducing the rate at which you search for stuff has to be considered. And talking about LinkedIn, yes, we can get to stay connected with all of this information by following the essential influencers on LinkedIn pertaining to your path. Because if you're getting to following for various sectors in this field will only make everything cumbersome for the programmers. So if you're interested in Python, follow just the Python influencers. And when it comes to leveraging on GitHub, leveraging on Stack Overflow, I think before you can even get to use stuff like that, then you need to be engaged in programming as first. Because before you can be able to even discover Stack Overflow, then you need to experience some problem in programming. So it's everything else starts with action. So when you get involved in that, then you will get involved in Stack Overflow, Reddit, and a lot like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, you should stay focused. You should search only things that you really need, you really want to consume, because social media is full of, a lot of things flying up and down. So you need to really be focused to really be updated. Yeah, I think I agree with that. So thank you very much for that. Now, quickly, Ms. Aderisola, we wanted to ask you a question that I think your network, was not stable and you left. So, yeah. So we just want to ask you the previous question now. How do you, can you share an example of a complex task that you've automated with Python? Just an example of complex tasks that you have automated with Python before.
Okay. I created a program that at score based on the predefined score range and saves the data in a text file. So in the code, the program comes the user to enter the student's name and score. Then the grade is calculated.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
So it's takes the score, then the grade is calculated based on the score and displayed. Then the student's name, score, and grade are written to the text file. So when this code is run, it will automate the grading process and save the student's information in the text file and provide a record of the student's name, score, and grade for future reference. So using the try and except to handle errors and exceptions and a while loop. That's it, sir.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I'm looking at my time now and I see that we've really exceeded the time. Okay, so thank you very much for that. And you've been able to see that you worked on maybe like a grading system that can automate the process. You don't have to grade it by yourself. We can write a code that can automate the whole process, save it in a database and all that. So that's an awesome, project you've really been able to work on. So thank you very much. So the last question that I'll be asking you also, Ms. Aderisola, is how do you stay up to date with new libraries and tools for Python automation? How do you stay up to date? How do you know the next thing? How do you know what is trending? How do you know what is up now? How do you get your updates?
Okay. So as Lekan said before, social media, but since, as you also mentioned, social media can be quite distracting. As a beginner, I think the most important thing is having a mentor of sorts, because having a mentor means anything going on, surely at least bring you up to date with webinars and stuff like that, and not out of the loop. You can attend meetups and conferences with the mentor. So that should help a lot with keeping up to date.
Yeah, thank you. I think I really, really love that also, where you have a mentor, someone you are really looking up to, that has made a very much recognizable space, maybe online or anywhere, that you can look up to, that yeah, this one is up to date. So you can always follow them, know what they are saying at the moment, so that you can also update yourself. Yeah, that's really, really awesome. So let's bring to this tech talk to an end. I feel there are still a lot of things I want us to discuss, like role of virtual environments, debugging, troubleshooting, a lot of things. But I think our time is fast spent. Maybe we can bring you on board some other time where we are going to, discuss some more, and then we're going to have, heart to heart talk, and then as a developer, you're going to still share us some of your experiences and all that. But for today, our time is fast spent, and I want to appreciate you for coming on. And I think we've been, able to catch a lot of things from everything that you have said. We've been able to catch a lot of things. We've been able to see that we can automate our tasks. We've been able to see the usefulness of automating so that it avoids, having to do something over and over again. And then we've also been able to see some of the libraries that you can use, and you have explained some common use cases for automation in your own industry. You've also been able to help us with how you handle your error and exception for your own Python script that you are writing, and also be able to share, your own experience about the complex project that you have worked on and how you have been able to automate the task. So thank you very much for coming around. And to the participant, I want to say thank you everyone for coming around for Tech Talk 9.0 Python for automation and scripting. Thank you. So quickly before we go, do you have anything you want to say to, probably a beginner, okay, in this field of Python? What can you say to a beginner, a person that is just starting out with Python? What advice would you give the person? Let's start from you, Mr. Derinsola. What advice would you give to someone that is just starting out as a Python developer? What advice would you give the person?
The advice I can give it is to make the habit repetitive in tasks, because it's easy to forget some things. Wow, and so you make it a habit to repeat tasks in the beginning. Later down the line.
Mm. Yeah, thank you very much. I think I get that we should make it a habit such that, if it is your habit to always write code, you always stick to it. Yeah, so thank you. How about you, Mr. Lekon, as we round up now?
What we say is you have to be very big on mastering the basics of programming language, because the basic is more like the most essential part of programming. Because if the foundation is not strong, then there might be an issue later. And starting with a simple language like Python will be a good consideration when it comes to starting out as a beginner in programming. And working on small projects bit by bit will also be one way to help a beginner in programming.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Working on projects, mastering the basics, yeah, they will really, really help you as you start your Python career. So thank you very much for coming around. We hope to have you some more time where you would still, come and explain something to us. So thank you very much. Have a good night rest.
All right, so good night, sir.
Yeah, good night. Good night, Mr. Derinsola.
Good night, sir.